So let's start today off properly. I'm going to grab a couple of seedlings here and I'm going to start with this tray of zucchinis. Let's go plant them. I think I'll plant them right over here. I guess I'm going to start off in this little area here today. I am planting a zucchini plant. It is a week after the previous zucchini we planted. So it is a succession and it may also be slightly stunted. So bear that in mind when you do take time between plantings. I am being a little bit mindful as I plant this just to lean it against the chicken run so that I can keep it away from the edge of the garden so that it doesn't spill out because this is where we hang our laundry.
We don't normally plant anything in this space because there is a concrete foundation for this wall that sticks out into the bed. So the space for the most part is actually unused. We generally put another container, like a pot or something, in this area. But since this nasturtium's been growing in a container for so long, maybe it won't mind so much. One nasturtium, let's go plant the other one.
Hey guys, so we've just planted out the line garden over here along the chicken coop, and I think things are looking pretty cool out there. I'm quite content with the progress that we've made, but I am going to take a slight break. It is getting a little bit hot, so I'll meet you back here a little bit later and we can potentially look at planting out these pots. Right, so I'm back in the garden and this is where I left off. I'd planted out this nasturtium as well as that one over there, and we've put in some compost and I planted the zucchini. But I did want to show you, we've got a little bit of progress on some of the seedlings that we planted. So we directly sowed these seeds and they've come up. So we've got a few little beans here, 3 on this side, 1 on this side, and over here under the arch we have got 1 coming up and 1 that has sprouted its leaves, and then just a little further over here there's a little bit of a start for a 3rd one. These I'm going to try and encourage to grow up this archway, and these guys I'm going to try and encourage to grow up this archway. Both of these containers have mulch in them, so I'm just going to take the layer off the top before I start planting. Since I have this leftover bag of compost, I am just going to add some to this container. And move on to the next one. Oh, she's moved.
So it was at this point that I kind of realized that the rain was coming in and the weather was coming in hard and fast. So I just put my head down and I continued to plant as much as I possibly could. I added a little bit of compost to both of these containers so that they could be backfilled slightly, though I didn't fill them as much as what I potentially could have. In these two containers, I planted one zucchini plant because I had it, and also I like to experiment growing both in ground and in containers so they can have somewhat of a comparison. I removed those bottom leaves so that they wouldn't touch the soil and they weren't draining the plants. I also then planted an eggplant into the second container. Again, I do have a few in the ground, but I do like to hedge my beds and plant them in as many ways as I possibly can. And then the skies opened up and we got rain. So I'm just going to call this video here and say thanks for hanging out with me today while I did a little bit of planting, and I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Bye, guys.